Hi, and welcome to Shania Subs, which is a podcast about movies and TV shows. And I talk about my articles in depth as well. Obviously, you can see my articles on my page. Mainly the ones that I have out right now are a Shop for Killers review, and movies and mother's instinct teaches us to treat our children well. But aside from that, I go into talk about how I talk about articles before they're even out, just as to tell you what's coming, tell you what's on its way, so that you obviously when it comes up, you're like, wow, like Shia talked about this in her podcast, and like she obviously gave it to us like as a reveal, as a sneak peek almost. But so today in this podcast, we're going to be talking about love triangles, and I got inspired to write this article, to be honest, because I've just been seeing love triangles a lot. Like, I mean, of course, you see love triangles a lot in general, but I think you see love triangles, like I see them mostly as like more than they are, more than they were before. I see them a lot in like K dramas as of late, and that's even why, like for me, I'm a K drama watcher through and through, and I've been obsessed with K dramas for a very long time now. I mean, for context, my first ever K drama was Love Alarm. That was my first ever K drama, which feels crazy to say, because obviously it feels like I've obviously been watching K dramas for that long. Or well, actually, it might have not been Love Alarm. It might have either been Extraordinary You also. Um, but I just know that I have been watching them for a while, and like yeah, I think even with that one, with Extraordinary You, that also centered love triangle, which is something I haven't actually also I didn't think I was gonna add that into my article, but it's given me an idea. That's also another one that obviously centers around a love triangle, because obviously the main girl has like a heart defect, and oh yeah, she has something wrong with her heart. I know that for sure. She has something wrong with her heart. And she then meets Haru, who comes to their school, and, and then she also has this other guy who's like really popular, but he'd already been there before Haru. And he obviously doesn't like her because he just thinks she clings on to him. So he feels like she clings on to him, and so he kind of just insults her. But even with that, I feel as though maybe that might have been probably my first ever love triangle K drama actually. But that one especially was like, I mean, I found it okay, but I think to myself, I'm now at a point where, because I feel as though I just see love triangles in TVs and movies a lot, that I don't really feel like they grab me anymore. Like, as to say, I think I also got inspired to do this article because I saw sorry, I need to get my charger, but I saw that Love Next Door, which is currently on at the minute, um it obviously has also a love triangle aspect to it also, which, I didn't want to talk about that too much because I'm not even really watching that right now. But it has a love triangle aspect to it, and obviously I just thought to myself, like, they just do love triangles in shows like all the time. I mean, in K dramas practically all of the time, aside from like the action ones and everything like that, because um I think, yeah, that's the ones that I mainly watch anyways, because obviously even with a Shop for Killers, like a Shop for Killers didn't have any kind of romantic element in it. Like there was no sense of love. Like, I mean, her uncle didn't even really feel like he possessed any love feelings for her, and he was related to her. So there's that, like, as in with that, I feel as though maybe I'm more sometimes hedging on the side of going into dramas that like have violence in them, like that have violence that are grabbing, I mean, because obviously A Shot for Killers was only 8 episodes, and it grabbed me in that small amount of time, and I practically binge watched that, but not in a day, because I don't really binge watch in a day anymore. But like it like I was really watching it. Like I think I finished it in about maybe like 2 or 3 days though, which I would still say for binge watching. Of course, binge watching, as we know, the main way is to watch it in one sitting in one day, but I still like count that as binge watching like over a few days. Like I would say I count binge watching as if you're watching a show just repeatedly back to back and it's spanning over a few days, then that still counts as you binge watching it, even if it's not you binge watching it in a whole entire day. Because I just think, who can really binge watch an entire day anymore? Like no one has the time. Everyone's far too busy. Also, we can also blame concentration spans, because mine's all over the gaff. And if we also want to talk about concentration spans, then we would talk about the fact that what's it called? We would talk about the fact that um like I think social media obviously like diminishes people's concentration span. But moving on from concentration span, like obviously love triangles were good. I feel like there was a point when they were good. Like that's what I mean. I don't deny that. I know that I'm someone who's like, I was obsessed with Twilight, right, for a really 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 long time. Like I remember when Twilight obviously first came out, and I had it on DVD, and I had all of them. I have all of them on DVD still. And then Twilight is a film that I will always rewatch. But then I even think it's probably not a film that I rewatch. Like basically because it's a love triangle. Like it's even like the fact that like I feel in love triangles you actually forget, like you forget that the second guy is even there. Like I sometimes when I watch Twilight, am I really even thinking about Jacob? Like he's there, but is he really there? Because it's like I don't actually like zoom in on him. And that's the thing that I also think is a problem in love triangles, because I think that like there's always a second guy, but the second guy is always left out in the cold. He's just there. And he's there since, like, just genuinely for the plot of the show. And that's what he's there for. And all we see him do is get, like, is not get seen by the main girl. We see him do stuff for the main girl, and we also see, because actually, for example, in True Beauty, Han Sojin, he likes the main girl, and then we see him pour himself into liking Jung Young, I think her name was. Yeah. We see him pour himself into liking her. We see him do all these things for her. We see him explicitly show it to her also. Like that's the thing. I guess for love triangles also, it's like when the guy explicitly shows it, he shows his feelings and he bears them. And even then, yeah, the main girl just isn't having it, or she doesn't see it, or she just sees them as a friend. But like um that was because that even K drama for me, like that was where, to be honest, where I think maybe my love for love triangles might have died. But like not like as I said, like as I say in my article, actually I say that I don't feel like I've been somebody who's like grabbed onto love triangles though, because I don't feel like it's really appealed to me. And I was saying, and I also was going to say, as in when I say it in my article, is like I'm going to say like I don't think, like, it's not that it appeals to me, like my audience, probably it appeals to straighter audiences. But even aside from that, I'm just like, even then I still think, even if I was to see something gay and it be two people in a love triangle, I still think it just wouldn't appeal to me, because I don't really like the way that, like, obviously the second guy is just used for the plot, and it's not as to say he really gets a chance with the girl, even though um there's one thing that like True Beauty does, which you could say is different to the webtoon, because I know that obviously, and I think people also spoke about this when True Beauty was on, that like obviously she actually dates both of them, but they don't really show that in the show. They don't really show that in the drama, sorry. They don't really show that like she actually dates both of them, but she just goes back to Suo in the end. But I think that's the thing with love triangles, and that's where they sometimes don't always like, they don't always like go together, because it's like they don't always showcase um they don't showcase, like, both sides. They don't really show how it would be if the main girl dates both, because it's like they obviously don't do that in Twilight, you could say, because obviously she doesn't ever give Jacob a chance. So with that example, she doesn't ever give him a chance. But with Vampire Diaries, of course, Elena dates both Stefan and Damon, and she weighs them up practically, and she goes with Damon in the end, because I guess he's just more aligned to her. Like, that's what I realized. Like, when watching that show, I realized that, like, Damon was just more aligned to Elena. And I think that she changes so much in the seasons that, like, in the end, Damon is the person that she needs to go for. And she obviously can't stick out with Stefan. But yeah, like, I just think that I just want to wrap up and say that I just think that love triangles, like, I think that they are dying, or like they're not dead yet, though, because obviously they still happen, but there's just something lacking in them, which I don't know what it is. I mean, I've explained in this whole, like, 11 minutes. I know what it is because I've already just told you guys what it is, but I think that, like, yeah, something needs to be done about them. I also maybe think that, yes, as I've also said, I think that they are overdone. So I think probably if shows and, like, K dramas could, like, shy away from them, that would perfectly be great. But thank you for listening to my first episode of this podcast, and be back here again.